Hey Tea Party Society, Janet here. This week we're pulling an episode from way back in the beginning. This was our second ever recorded episode of the Poison Tea Party. It's clippy, it's echoey, it's poorly edited, but aside from all that, it should be a good time. Trass hosts this episode number 15, Native American Folklore. Enjoy.
Welcome to the tea party, bitches.
Welcome. All are welcome.
Good day, darlings. Welcome to the Poison Tea Party. We are your hosts. I am Trassy Assy.
I'm Janet.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we are coming at you not live and heavily edited from the middle of a cornfield somewhere in the Midwest. Gather around, my pretties, pull up a comfy chair, grab your grandma's teacup, and pour your favorite poison because this is about to go down.
It's about to go down.
We're still pretty new at this, but we've had a lot of fun so far. And this is purely for entertainment purposes, and seeing as how we're the funniest bitches I know,
Absolutely.
you're sure to love it. And if not, fine. Nobody fucking cares.
No, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
All right. So, what is in your teacups today? Janet, let's start with you.
I'm drinking tea, of course. It's a little twisted tea with a little twist of raspberry and probably some alcohol, but
Yeah, but
Who
the world
knows?
may never know.
who knows? It
Howie?
might just be poison.
It could be. It probably is.
I am also drinking twisted or poisonous tea, if you will. I just have an original flavor in my cup right now, so nothing super fancy.
Original.
It's good.
I think
It's like
it's
sweet tea.
disgusting. I am drinking no tea of any sort. I have some sort of Mike's hard something.
Oh, what is it?
Black cherry.
Black cherry.
Black cherry lemonade. It's pretty great. So we rarely sip tea from our teacups, although these ladies are drinking a form of tea today. We instead prefer to sip various poisons and spirits. If this is something you have never even considered, then I beg of you, please try it out. You don't have any idea what you're missing. It's the funnest time you'll ever have.
Yes, it's
the
so
greatest
fun.
thing.
We love
I
it.
don't even really know how we discovered it, but
It was
it's
you.
great.
It was your fault.
that sounds accurate. This sounds pretty accurate.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so before we begin, I'd like to take a minute to talk about something very near and dear to myself, along with these lovely ladies that sit beside me. Puppies are our passion.
Yeah.
My husband and myself currently foster for a wonderful rescue called Oh My Dog Rescue. And we're a small and relatively new rescue doing big and great things. If you would like to learn more, you can visit ohmydogrescue.org or follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So, Kaylee Joe,
Yes.
you just turned 21 last month. No, 2 months ago now.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Well,
I
almost
know.
2 months ago. It's
That
like a month
flew
and a
by like so fast.
We're in the beginning of May, so it's been like a month and a half. She was at the end of March, so this is a milestone
You're
birthday.
basically dead.
I know. It's all of this poison.
pretty much dead already.
Do you feel any different?
No, not really.
You don't feel any different.
21 was a
It's-
big one for me. Like, I
It was
definitely
huge.
felt different.
It's like, okay, I can go and buy my stuff now, blah, 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 but I mean, it's not as crazy as people make it out to be. But also, I've been doing this a long time.
You can't say that here.
Oh, sorry.
That's not true. That never happened.
Oh, man. So you may have already asked this, but what's your favorite part about being of age finally?
Well, I love going to the bars and hugging random people.
Oh yes,
That's great.
absolutely.
I'm a
Me-
peacemaker.
Me and your mother are definitely...
You're one of us.
That's so
One of
fun.
us. One
One
of
of
us.
us.
No, but when I went to a live music concert bar thing, it was super
It
fun.
wasn't like a
I don't know.
concert, I wouldn't say. It was like live music.
It was just live music, yeah.
Kaylee was making friends with literally
Everyone.
everyone there.
I was having a blast.
Oh my god, she was hugging and just hi
Dancing.
girl, hey, how's it going? She was telling the people on stage that she was like there was a
Yep.
woman on stage who
She was
awesome.
amazing.
She was a fabulous singer.
She was awesome. Love
and
her.
you were like,
I told her I loved her.
great. I love you. I'm like, oh my god,
And
this
she
is
was
embarrassing.
she's like, you are so cute. I love you. I was like, this is so fun. So
It was intense.
it's definitely fun going around and just peace and love.
Like, and seriously, do any of you remember being 21? Like,
No.
well, good point. No, it was the greatest thing. I kind of remember it. I remember I was in Vegas.
I mean,
For
I
my
did go to, I do
20th
remember
birthday.
that. Me and Mom had the best.
She still
time.
talks about it.
It was
Oh, yeah.
we were partying. I mean, I think there was a couple nights we didn't even go to bed.
And shout out to the Wisconsin boys that I saw at the bar in Vegas. I don't know if any of you are listening, but you bought me a liter of Captain and Coke, and for that, I thank you. It was like 4 a.m.
Yes,
I
love
definitely
it.
did not need it.
They thought you did, so
Yeah, they did.
She obviously did.
Yeah, obviously.
All right. So do you have any advice for our youth out there, Kaylee?
I feel
I want to hear her
I
wisdom.
feel kind of weird giving advice. I guess my advice is to experiment within reason. Have fun. Everything's not that serious.
Maybe Kaylee could take some of her,
Her
own
own
advice
advice?
sometimes.
I know how to let loose and have fun.
Oh my
Thank you very
God.
much. No, but yeah. I think like the biggest thing kids nowadays don't do a lot just because social media or the internet is
Yeah,
such a big
they're really
thing.
like secluded and
Yeah.
they don't really like know
Like-
how to socialize like
Exactly.
face to face with people.
And
Yeah.
going out and just like having a good time. You don't need your phone for everything. You can talk to people. People aren't always mean. There are some really nice people out there still.
And interesting people.
Yes.
And you're never going to do anything interesting if you don't
No.
look up.
And
from your
people have
phone.
I've met random ladies at the bar who have given me life advice that I'm going to take with me
For the
forever.
brave.
But yeah, no, it's definitely just an experimenting with things. It doesn't always have to be like drugs and alcohol, whatever. Just like trying new things out, doing new things. It's fun.
Doing grown up things.
Yes.
Yeah. Go out and buy yourself a gallon of milk or something, you know?
No, buy yourself some wine and play The Sims.
Well, I
That's
mean,
what I like to
tough,
do.
But like,
Listen, that is your guys' jam right there.
It's so fun.
My husband told me the other day, it's funny that you said put your phone down, because he was like, you're the only person I know that walks away from their phone for hours and doesn't look at it. And I was like, we do that.
Yeah.
Like, my sister does that. You do that. My mom does that. But yeah, quite literally, that's it.
No.
That's all that I know of.
Exactly. And like
I don't need my
I
phone.
can feel it in myself when I'm on my phone too long.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I
I get
start to
annoyed with
feel-
myself. Okay,
Exactly.
Timu. Shout out
Yes.
Timu. Leave me the fuck
Yeah.
alone.
You know it's bad when
I don't
like-
want your fucking coupons. Yes, I do. Keep sending them.
Exactly. But you know it's bad when you're like on your phone watching videos and it's
annoying,
the
but
same
I love
thing.
it at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
When I can hop on to Facebook and all of a sudden like everything that I want or have been
there.
talking about is right there in front of me.
That's when
Fabulous.
it's like
That's
ugh.
what I think.
I think it's a problem.
I do too.
Yeah, no.
Oh my god. Well, anyways, so every culture across the world, both past and present, have their own unique sets of myths, legends, and folklore. Today I want to share with you some of my most favorite Native American folklore. So buckle up, buttercups, because this shit is what nightmares are made of. The Wendigo. The Wendigo is arguably one of the most popular and well-known on this list. It is a creature that originates from Algonquin Native American folklore. As the tale goes, the Wendigo was once a lost hunter. During a brutally cold winter, this man's intense hunger drove him to cannibalism. After feasting on another human's flesh, he transformed into a crazy beast, roaming the forest in search of more people to eat.
Oh, this is like me at 2 a.m. in the kitchen.
Same.
After I done had one snack, I gotta have more.
Oh my god, dude. You a cannibal?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Maybe you already did.
Fuck knows. Oh, shit. The Wendigo is described as looking very human-like. It's a giant creature up to 15 feet tall, or as a beast that grows larger the more it consumes. So there's like a lot of different stuff you go on. You can find like conflicting information. So they have emaciated or desiccated pale skin, and being anything from white to gray or even green or yellow in color. They're said to have big owl-like eyes, and sometimes their eyes are red. Sharp yellow teeth and claws. Its lips, this part is Ew. Its lips are chewed or missing entirely because it has eaten them.
Oh,
It's eaten its own fucking lips.
Sometimes I do that in the winter.
Does anybody have chapstick?
They may have fur or be hairless and may have pointed ears and horns or antlers like a deer. Their heart is said to be made of ice, and they are said to smell of decay, death, and corruption.
What does corruption smell like, everyone?
I don't know, but it smells like that.
What the fuck?
Donald
this thing
Trump.
smells like that?
That's what it said.
I want to know.
I want to know.
I know who it
Does
smells
it smell
like.
my garbage can smells like right now? Because if so,
Then
It's definitely corrupted.
it's corrupted.
Again, the Wendigo is a mythological cannibalistic monster in the spiritual tradition of Algonquin-speaking tribes. It is described as either a fearsome beast that stalks and eats humans, or a spirit that possesses humans, causing them to turn into cannibals. The Wendigo is said to be a human that turns monstrous through starvation-induced cannibalism, possession, or exposure. It is a creature that is associated with winter, famine, and starvation. Hunting and eating humans is how a Wendigo survives, or as a spirit, it possesses humans, causing them to become cannibals. And with no prey, it would wither and starve to death. Their powers are said to be superhuman strength and speed, meaning they are excellent hunters. They also possess the ability to mimic human voices to lure their prey,
Oh, what?
No,
which is creepy.
Yes.
And there's actually evidence of this playing out in real life. It's called Wendigo psychosis, and there's plenty of information on it. And Wendigo psychosis is characterized by paranoia, anxiety, hallucinations, and cannibalistic urges. That's usually a result of cultural narratives and psychological vulnerabilities. So
That
meaning
was me
that
last Tuesday.
where they're, they're brought up in these Native American tribes and they hear about these things. And there's no modern day data on it, but there's a few stories that I stumbled across. So according to legendsofamerica.com, a documented case occurred in 1878 when a Plains Cree trapper from Alberta named Swift Runner suffered one of the worst cases. Swift Runner was a trader with the Hudson's Bay
Can we
Company.
this motherfucker's name is Swift Runner?
I was thinking the same thing.
Whoa.
Yes, he's Native American.
Oh,
So
okay, that's fine.
So,
yes.
take that out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Listen, I was just like, this is like some white fur trapping dude, and his name's Swift Runner.
I was like, why he ain't run away?
Oh my god. It says Plains Cree trapper. The Cree is a Native American tribe. Swift Runner was a trader with the Hudson's Bay Company, and the Hudson's Bay Company was a fur trading business for much of its existence, and it's still around today. They do other things now. Swift Runner was a married father of 6.
Oh.
In 1875, he served as a guide for the Northwest Mounted Police. Now, if you don't know, that's a Canadian paramilitary police force. We all know them as the Mounties or
Which
whatever.
we're from Wisconsin,
We're from
so we definitely know
Wisconsin.
about the Mounties.
We know
the
who they are. During the winter of 1878 to 1879, Swift Runner and his family were starving, along with numerous other Cree families. His eldest son was the first to die of starvation, and at some point, Swift Runner succumbed to Wendigo psychosis. He just thought, I'm just going to eat my kid. That's what happened. So, though emergency food supplies were available at the Hudson's Bay Company's post some 25 miles away, he did not attempt to travel there. Instead, he killed the remaining members of his family and he consumed them. And he eventually confessed and was executed by authorities at Fort Saskatchewan.
And this is real shit. This is a real recorded.
These are in the Hudson's Bay Company records.
Oh.
Wow.
So another well-known case involving Wendigo psychosis was that of Jack Fiddler, an OG Cree.
Oh my god. His name's Jack Fiddler,
Yes.
too. Okay.
Yep.
What are these names about, dude?
Dude.
Dude.
Where's my car?
What are these names about, dude?
Oh no.
Oh my god. Okay.
So Jack Fiddler was an OG Cree chief and medicine man, known for his powers at defeating Wendigos. Fiddler claimed to have defeated 14 Wendigos in his lifetime.
Yeah, right. Okay. And he had a 16-inch dick.
Right, exactly.
For real.
Not
That's
true.
So for real.
That's exactly where I'm at.
What a liar.
What-
Typical fucking man.
What a loser.
What a loser.
Some of these creatures were said to have been sent by enemy shamans, and others were members of his band who had been taken with the insatiable, incurable desire to eat human flesh. In the latter case, family members usually asked Fiddler to kill a very sick loved one before they turned into a Wendigo, so they weren't actually Wendigos, quote unquote, yet.
I already know. Hold on.
Okay.
I already know what's happening here.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm sick of dealing with grandma. She like shit her pants again and we have no running water.
She definitely
Could you
is
just,
infected.
she's probably going to be a Wendigo soon. Could you just kill her?
Or so-and-so won't clean up after themselves, so can
Will
you
you just
just...
kill
I
'em?
think they're a Wendigo.
Ugh, what the
I think
fuck?
that's what's happening.
They're eating their lips. You should probably kill them.
Don't get them any chapstick. They don't need
Give them any chapstick.
Fiddler's brother, Peter Flett, was killed after turning Wendigo when the food ran out on a trading expedition. Hudson's Bay Company traders, the Cree, and missionaries knew the Wendigo legend, though they often explained it as a mental illness or superstition. Regardless, several incidents of people turning Wendigo, quote unquote, and eating human flesh are documented in the company's records. So these aren't the only stories within the Hudson's Bay Company records of.
They have like a lot more or
Yes.
what?
Yes.
Oh, what the fuck?
So in 1907, the Canadian authorities arrested Jack and his brother Joseph. So Joseph isn't Peter Flett. He had another brother, Joseph, for murder. So they both were arrested for murder in 1907. Jack committed suicide. So this was the guy that defeated 14 Wendigos.
Mm-hmm.
But Joseph was tried and sentenced to life in prison. He was ultimately granted a pardon, but died 3 days later in jail before receiving news of his pardon. Good.
Yeah. Good
Good.
riddance, you.
Good.
So I had a few thoughts on this Wendigo stuff. The takeaway, in my opinion, is that, like, you know, greed and gluttony is a bad deal. And it can make people do all sorts of crazy shit and turn into, you know, all sorts of different monsters. In the north, where the Algonquin mainly resided, which is mostly in Canada, winters were really rough. So in order for some people to survive, you know, they probably had to do some weird, crazy shit to, I mean, I'm not condoning.
No, it's cool, man. We know the winter was hard.
But
You had to kill grandma because
You
she
know,
didn't have any chapstick.
also, on
We
the
get
other
it.
foot, when you had 25 miles to go to the Hudson's Bay Company, like, compound, they had food supplies there for the people that worked for them. And they didn't, like, the first guy, he didn't even try to go there. He just was like, I'm just going to kill my family and eat them. Like, what the fuck? I believe that it was easier for people to separate themselves from these cannibalistic people by turning them into, like, quote unquote monster. They didn't agree with what they were doing and they didn't like it. So it was easier to believe that there was another reason for their behavior. And that's just what I think. Any thoughts?
Native Americans, they have such deep lore and it's so rooted.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they would. I don't want to say come up with something like this. I really don't think it's something.
So it's not normal behavior. So, you know, I can see, you know, it being like there's got to be something wrong with this person, which obviously there is. There's obviously something mentally wrong
And
with
back
them.
in those days, like you couldn't go to the psychologist.
No.
So, and that's probably most likely what those people needed.
Well, we see this to this day
Yeah, we do.
in American culture. I mean, I just watched a story about a girl who was abducted by her teacher, and we victim blamed her. Because how could this teacher, who was super nice and lovely to all of his students, do something so horrible if she didn't play a role? People come up with any kind of thing to
Just to
cover
make it
up.
all fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not,
If
it's
they
not
don't-
normal.
No. And if they don't want to see that person as something evil,
And also,
they blame it on something else.
cannibalism.
Cannibalism.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, but there's like all these forums and stuff online. Like one of my favorite like YouTubers, she talks about like all this stuff. But there's like a whole forum online where people will be like, I want somebody to eat me. Like they literally go on these things
Yeah.
and like,
What?
yes.
I know. Listen, I know about the foot people. The people that want
The
like your
foot
socks and like pictures
In
of
your
feet.
underwear.
What did you just say? There's people that want to eat you, or they want you to eat them.
Yes, both. Both.
There was a story about this. A gay man went on a website and he said something about how he'd be willing to sacrifice himself for another man wanting to eat him. And then that man went to his house, they engaged in intercourse, and then that guy cut him up and ate him.
Yeah.
That happened.
So did he
Real
like
shit.
did he like get convicted of murder because that dude gave him permission?
That
to do
trial
that?
was lengthy, I think.
What is this? What's the name of this?
I don't know. The one that I listened to, it happened in Germany. So the guy got like 5 years in prison.
We watched a documentary one time, and I think I watched it with you, Kaylee, about that guy that had like his leg amputated, and then they took it to a barbecue and ate it. Like him and all of his friends.
Yep.
Do you remember that? I
Yeah.
don't remember what that was on even. It was so random. I just remember being so disgusted by it. I'm like, guess what? I don't care how much I love your ass. I am not eating your leg.
No, fuck that.
I'm not eating your eye. I ain't eating
But
your
this
fucking
happens
arm.
like so much more than you would think. And the people who are like sexually aroused by this, that's really what is like, what the fuck? Because in that situation that I was just talking about, that was a whole, they were gonna meet up, do whatever.
And that
then-
was the one that, like, the one in Germany.
Mhm.
And because there was a paper trail online and they could find it, that's why the guy only got 5 years, even though the person was dead.
And in his freezer.
But yeah, but it was literally because it was mapped out. The guy totally consented to
So
every
these are like
single part
real
of it.
day Wendigos.
Yep, modern day.
Yep.
They probably ate their lips too.
They probably did eat their lips.
And then they went on to eat more things.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
are we ready to move on, or do
Yeah,
you have
let's do
something
it.
else to
No.
say?
Our thoughts on it are just like, this is fucked
Our
up.
thoughts are
but-
random and all over the place.
They are.
They are.
Okay. Scootakamooch, or the Ghost Witch. The Ghost Witch, or Scootakamooch, is a vampire-like creature. An undead creature who rises at night to feast upon the living and can only be killed by fire. It is born from a black magic shaman who passed on but refuses to die, so their body is free to reanimate at night. So the thing with Scootakamooch that I found difficult was that there's not a lot of information. I kept, I'd search and search, and there's a lot of like people that like talk about Scootakamooch, or there's a song, or there's, another story or what have you. But the thing that I found interesting is that this one story pops up over and over and over again. So I'm going to read it for you. One Native American ghost story of Scootakamooch is as follows. This tale starts when an old, vindictive sorcerer finally died of old age. After a group of people left his body in a tree deep in the forest, stories spread about strange happenings in the woods. One night, a couple, oblivious to the dark rumors, passed through the forest on their way east. As soon as they entered the woods, the wife felt an odd, cold feeling. She insisted that they leave, but her husband waved her suspicion aside.
Oh, hell no.
Ugh,
Listen-
girl.
Listen to your gut.
And always listen to your wife. I'm just telling you right now, because
That's what I was for real.
we know when
We
shit
do
is
know.
fucked up. So, we shouldn't be here, the wife insisted, looking up into the tree branches and noticing strange dark shadows. I think we better leave now. Again, her husband ignored her and fell asleep. The wife spent the night curled up in a ball, wide awake in fear. As the night stretched on, she heard a strange gnawing sound. Once the sun finally rose, the wife turned to wake her husband and found him dead. His face and entire left side a bloody pulp, and his heart was gone.
You
That
got
ghost
what you
witch-
fucking deserved.
She was like, I'm doing this for you, honey. You should have left him years ago.
You should have.
Come join us.
One of us. So horrified, the wife ran until she came across some members of the Wabanaki tribe and told them what happened. Though they had originally suspected that she had killed her husband, they agreed to return with her to the tree. Once they were there, they remembered the witch buried inside. I touch on this in just a minute here. They then found the husband's dead body. Realizing the witch must be undead, they burned the corpse in hopes of ousting the Scootakamooch. It is unknown if they were successful. So my very first thought on this whole fucking thing
She did it.
is that maybe she did, but how do you just conveniently forget that there's a fucking dead shaman witch thing buried
You
in the
don't.
woods?
That's bullshit. She did it, and she was like, "Oh, don't you guys remember? There's a witch in this
Probably,
tree."
but they weren't from around here. So because the way that the story goes and that they make it sound is that they were traveling on their way east from somewhere else, and they happened upon this forest. So the way that the story is written is that they weren't from around these parts. So she very well could have, and she just got lucky that Scootakamooch just happened to be there. So I feel like Scootakamooch is like a weird twist of like a vampire zombie. And if we know anything about vampire zombies, werewolves, it's that you need to make sure the shit is dead.
Yep.
For real.
Double tap.
Double tap.
Always
tap.
double
to the
tap.
head.
To the head, she says. So yeah, there wasn't like a whole lot of like nothing like what they look like or anything like that.
See, that's like what I think makes that story so interesting, is because stories that don't have a lot of information scare the shit out of you. Because when you're reading that, you're like, okay, but what happened?
You never know. One of us.
One of us. One of us.
Okay, the next one is the Piasaw. The Piasaw bird is a local legend with its roots in Alton, Illinois. So this one's kind of local for us. It's right on the Mississippi.
Alton, Illinois is like halfway down Missouri.
Okay,
And
so it's
right
farther-
on the border
it's
of Illinois, Missouri.
farther away than I thought, but it's still on the Mississippi. So, in 1673, an explorer named Father Jacques Marquette saw a painting on Limestone Bluff overlooking the Mississippi River while exploring the area. He recorded the following description. While skirting some rocks...
Girl!
She was ready.
She's been studying this part.
Oh, man. By which their height and length inspired awe. We saw upon one of them 2 painted monsters, which at first made us afraid, and upon which the boldest savages not dare long rest their eyes. They are as large as a calf. They have horns on their heads, like those of a deer, a horrible look, red eyes, a beard like a tiger's, a face somewhat like a man, a body covered with scales, and so long a tail that it winds all around the body, passing above the head and going back between the legs, ending in a fishtail. Green, red, and black are the 3 colors composing this picture. Moreover, these 2 monsters are so well painted that we cannot believe that any savage is their author, for good painters in France would find it difficult to reach that place conveniently to paint them. Here is approximately the shape of these monsters as we have faithfully copied it, and then in the journal there is, he drew pictures of the Payasas. The name Payasa was derived from the Algonquin Illinois language and means a bird that devours men. In an article published in 1836 by John Russell, the story goes that the Illinois Native Americans had been plagued by a beast for many years that was powerful enough to carry off full-grown deer. Legend has it that hundreds of warriors had tried killing the beast but had failed. It continued to destroy whole villages until Chief Atoga, a chief renowned even amongst neighboring tribes, separated from his tribe and fasted for a whole moon cycle. On the last night of his fast, Atoga was visited by the Great Spirit, who directed him to gather 20 warriors, give them a bow and poison arrows, and wait in a designated spot upon the bluffs to ambush the creature. Chief Atoga stood on the open bluff as bait, and when the creatures noticed him, it swooped down to carry him away. But the warriors, hidden in the bushes, released a barrage of poison arrows. The creature shrieked and flew over the Mississippi River, crashing dead into the water. So that's the main story. If you look up Payasa, there's a lot of different, because some people say that it was Native American quote unquote monster and it's a lake monster. So a lot of people associate the Payasa with this other one and they say they are actually the same thing. But this story specifically became wildly popular. So it's believed that they fly and that it's a completely different one just based on this story alone.
What the heck is it?
We don't know. The Payasa history is that some believe that the Payasa lived in caves along the Mississippi and could have been a remnant of the prehistoric era. Around the year 1700, records indicate the original painting of the Payasa had nearly disappeared from exposure to the elements. Rock quarrying and powder mills also contributed to destroying the bluffs around the 19th century, which is absolutely happened.
So didn't they notice, there's this painting here, but I'm just gonna mine it?
I don't think they cared. I don't think that it had anything to do with not noticing it. Because you got to think this is, the 19th century, but very few people during that time were interested in preserving any sort of historical anything.
Losers.
Mm-hmm.
So they possibly even destroyed the stony canvas, the original painting once occupied from the quarrying and stuff like that. It's not entirely sure where it went. So in the 1990s, the current Payasa bird was repainted on the cliff where it watches over the Mississippi and Great River Road today. So the local tribe went back, and then I think it was 1992, and they went back and they took the descriptions of everything that they could gather, and they went back and repainted the Payasa on the new bluff.
Ooh, and it's there today.
Yes, and it's got a whole thing around it, so you can walk up to the bluff, and it's got a whole walk around, and it's got this whole area.
We need to visit that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. I saw pictures. So my thoughts are that I really feel like the Payasa was a leftover flying reptile from prehistoric times. It is the only thing that makes sense to me, but I feel the same way about dragons. I really think that they existed and that it was just something that either became extinct or just evolved over time and we will never see them. But I really think that the Payasa was an actual thing.
Yeah, and I've heard of people thinking that pterodactyls are still alive,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for something like this to be.
We know that flying reptiles absolutely existed. So, this isn't too...
We should get Bodhi down here and hear
For
his
real.
expertise on this.
He's really waiting. He's waiting. I was like, no, sir.
I think it's interesting in all of these legends or stories or whatever, the same themes are coming up the deer antlers. What's the significance of that?
I referenced that a little bit later
Okay.
because, I mean, I don't like hit on it too hard, but yes, they all have the same kind of basis. And you'll see with the Wendigo and then one of the last ones that we talk about, like they're all super similar.
And it all is like things that prey on our fears.
And they're different tribes, right?
Yes.
Think about that.
We've had Algonquin. I mean, we've had Algonquin mostly. We've had 2, I think, so far that were from Algonquin. We had 1 Wabanaki. We have some Navajo ones coming up.
Right.
I mean, they're all different tribes and like from different types of areas. But the overall beliefs of the Native Americans, I think, is what plays into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's interesting that all of these things have like the most scariest part of an animal, and there's
very specific reasons for these things to exist, right?
Yeah.
You'll see more here in a little bit. Like there's very specific things that these things do, but this thing is also the same as this thing. Like, oh, these guys do this, but this one also does this. Yeah. They're so similar but so different at the same time. It's kind of crazy.
That's like, yeah, when you were reading that in the deer antlers again, I'm like, what the hell? This is like the same thing, but like that is scary. Imagine you're like walking and you just see these big ass antlers and you're like,
it's what's that thing on Riverdale?
Oh yeah. I don't remember anything on Riverdale except for Jughead.
Oh, I love Jughead.
Jughead's the only one I remember.
Justice for Jughead.
What?
Which is really sad because
I hope he is.
That
makes him hotter to me.
He broke
Lily. What's her name? Lily Reinhart.
Yeah.
He broke her heart.
But her name is Betty Cooper.
Betty Cooper. I love her.
Riverdale.
She's super cute.
I don't really know. I just watched it for him. I don't know any of the story.
The Gargoyle King.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yes.
And in
which makes me feel pedo-y because
that's what I was just gonna
say. You guys used to watch The Sweet Life with Zach and Cody.
And he was like my crush.
Yeah. And those kids were on Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Like I was like almost 18.
My mother watched them grow up and she's in love with them.
Maybe not almost 18. I don't remember how old I was. But anyway, old enough to not date the 6-year-old on Big Daddy.
Right. Yeah, no, we weren't of age yet, but we were old enough.
I just know in like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the new one that came out on Netflix, love that show. There's a lot of clips with like the antlers even and shadows. So
that's like a demonic show though. It's based, the devil plays, and Lilith and all that plays a big part in that show. So you would assume to see that. But that's funny that, and it's not just Native American folklore that you see, like antlers and things atop people's heads, or not
it's
people,
all about
creatures' heads or whatever.
Right.
I think it just shows like authority, fear, be scared of me, I'm bigger than you kind of thing.
Be so scared.
Be so scared.
Oh
be too scared.
Yeah.
This is the one that...
So this next one, let's just get into it. Stick people, or Stick Indians, as I'll be referring to them. There's a lot of conflicting information surrounding Stick Indians. One of the main reasons being Native Americans believe that even speaking about them would draw them near to you, inviting chaos. Because the Native Americans feared speaking...
So right now, we're drawing them near to us?
We could be. And trust me, there's another one later on that if you talk about them, they come near to you.
Like Bloody Mary and shit?
Yeah, and it was dark, and I had to drive to work afterwards. And I was hearing some shit. I'm not even kidding. So I'll be...
Oh, no!
It was like... Okay, I'm gonna calm down on this, but whatever.
Oh my God. Okay, girl.
Because Native Americans feared speaking their name, we don't actually know what they're truly called. And as a result, they have been dubbed Stick Indians. So we don't actually know what the true Native American name for these things are because they're so feared by the Native Americans. And that's why they have been dubbed Stick Indians. Stick Indians are malevolent and extremely dangerous forest spirits. Details about them vary from tribe to tribe. In some traditions, Stick Indians have the power to paralyze, hypnotize, or even cause insanity in hapless humans, while in others, they merely lead people astray by making eerie sounds of whistling and laughter in the woods at night. In some stories, Stick Indians may eat people who fall prey to them, kidnap children, or molest women.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Boy.
They also take aggressive revenge against people who injure or disrespect them, even if it's unintentional.
So we are disrespecting the hell out of them right now.
Right. Well, let's just cross our fingers that there are none anywhere near us.
I wish a motherfucker would.
Listen, don't go whistling in the woods at night, my friend.
No, please don't.
Many legends acknowledge that they at least somewhat resemble other Native Americans. However, this isn't universally true. For example, the Nez Perce call them little people, and the Salish and several other tribes say that they resemble Bigfoot.
Okay,
so it's a very wide
Yeah.
different.
Because Bigfoot's like this huge, not a stick thing.
Right.
And when I don't know, you're saying stick Indians, I'm thinking of like Slender Man, I think is
Yeah.
kind of what is coming to my brain.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know, is like this really tall, beastly, lanky,
Yeah.
no face.
Yep. Just like
It's
just
just
eerie.
big ear.
Yeah, scary thing.
Yeah. So it's very, they go from little people to Bigfoot, so we don't really know.
So, do the Native Americans call them stick Indians?
No, like I said, they have a name for them,
But they don't tell.
but
They
they
won't
won't
say.
say it. So it's kind of like
Okay.
Voldemort, he who shall not be named.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
That makes sense.
they are seldom seen, almost completely nocturnal, and it is said that their language does not mimic human speech, but instead sounds like birds and other animals. They primarily hunted and fished to feed themselves and seem to not have any permanent residence. They were clothed with deerskin and whatever else they could find from the forest. Many of them play pranks on villages during the night when they come across these villages. These pranks, while annoying, were fairly mild. For example, they would steal fish from nets, take food, and remove men's clothing.
Ha!
That's what they deserve.
That's what they
Mhm.
deserve.
They were also said to have had a habit of thrusting sticks into teepees, lodges, and at people while they slept. So I think that's part of the
Damn.
reason that they may have been called stick Indians,
Silly stick Indians.
because of their love for throwing sticks.
Interesting.
When threatened by other tribes or when tribes interfered with their lives, the power of these creatures would soon be on display. Stick Indians were incredibly vindictive and always sought revenge. It is believed that they had some powers of mental persuasion. Although the range of powers differs, almost all tribes believe that they are able to induce dread, confusion, and anxiety to humans, especially those wandering alone. So again, don't go in the woods alone at night, and don't whistle while you're in there either.
This is like common
All
sense.
of those
people.
things are, I don't know, that's all stuff I do.
And
Are
that's
you,
why
like-
you ain't done your research on the horror movies.
Yes, though.
Yeah.
Whistling is like, I've been told by numerous people, can you please stop whistling? It's annoying. And I'm
Dad
like,
does that, though. Dad whistles a lot, too.
and I love going everywhere alone. So what?
Also, like when I was growing up, my dad would be like, make sure, because he would show me those. I had an extreme fear of bears when I was younger because my father would make me watch bear documentaries with him, and he'd be like, "This could happen. They could kill you."
This is real.
So he'd always be like, "It's fine. Just make noise
Not
when you're.
surprised
Just
by
make
that.
noise while you're in the woods." So then,
See, that's
anytime,
not wrong, though.
yeah, because he would say like it would keep bears
But these
away.
stick people might take offense to that, and you're like messing up their whole thing.
I
So
know.
guess what? Guess what, Keely?
I'm
You're
just
getting
gonna,
a stick
you know
thrown
what?
right through your boob.
Hell no. You know
That's
what I'm
what
gonna
you're
do?
getting.
Right through
I'm
it.
gonna start chirping like a bird. I'll be one of them.
If you chirp
Did you
like
say?
a bird,
Oh, I thought you said something.
chirping like a
Yeah,
bird,
that's what I
Chirping
thought.
like a bird.
chirping like a bird.
Chirping like a bird.
I was not aware of what was happening.
She is shooketh to her core.
Oh, shit. So many people who disappeared were thought to have been taken by the Stick Indians as punishment for disrespecting them. Children specifically were warned of dangers of wandering into the forest at night because they may be stolen away or brought up to become slaves or wives.
Oh, not wives.
Yeah.
You know how fucked up that is when it's like, please, not wives.
Please don't make me a wife.
Don't do this.
I have the best married life, so I would be a wife all the time.
But these are kind of be like arranged marriages, aren't they?
Not even arranged marriages, forced
Yeah. Forced.
slavery.
I think arranged
and-
are kind of forced.
Aren't they? Or
Not
are
all
they
of them.
not?
No, not all of them are.
Yeah, because like you kind of grow up knowing you're gonna marry.
Yeah, well, and
You
a
know.
lot of like arranged marriages, especially like this day and age, and within like the United States, like the parents like present to you like several suitors,
And you
and
get
they're
to
like,
choose from
"Hey,
that.
like we want you to get to know these people, and you know whatever." And then they choose from that. Yeah,
Not acceptable.
a
That's
lot
kind
people
of what
like
my
it,
mother
though.
did.
Like it's like halvesies, where half people ask to have an arranged marriage, and half of them are like, "No, we'll find our own husband." Thank you.
My mother, in no way, shape, or form, is picking my fucking husband.
No, absolutely not.
My mother did.
I did. Wait a minute,
She
though. That's
handpicked
different.
him.
Although, not to
Is
say
it?
that, like, who my
No.
mom chooses is bad, because obviously my dad, my stepdad, whatever. But,
Yeah.
never mind.
Never mind.
Maybe it's not such a bad thing. I don't know. I can't see any. Okay, never mind.
I personally would not be going for the arranged marriage.
No.
No.
Story of Pocahontas. Hello, anyone? Come on now.
Goodness.
History repeats itself.
History. Okay, so sometimes to appease the stick Indians or at least sway them from taking a loved one, when people would hear the eerie whistles coming from the forest at night, they would put food offering of meat outside of their door. This was done in hopes that the stick Indians would take that instead of the person inside of the home. They knew the offer was accepted if the food was gone in the morning and everyone was still alive and well.
Here, take this hamburger and leave little Billy alone.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
already know there's like some old lady who's like, these stupid idiots. And she goes around and she eats all that damn food.
She is too, and she's like, I'm just waiting outside for
She's
Edgar
like,
to
she
throw
just
the
starts-
meat out.
Well, she probably just like starts whistling in the
She-
woods.
that's what I was gonna say.
Like hungry.
You just hear fucking Aunt Helen down the road. Comes up in there, starts eating all your food. Or she's saving it. She's going to make everyone a meal.
She's probably making some jerky, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
How much meat's outside? Like,
Probably a lot.
but
Cured and
anyway,
salted.
it's keeping the stick people away, so that's all we care about.
That's all
Be
that matters.
careful.
And no one's becoming a wife
No. And be careful.
or a slave. Which is way worse, but that's humorous.
I would be worried about it being someone's leg.
Oh, on the barbecue.
On
Put
the
another
barbecue.
leg on the barbecue.
The point is to not, like, have to sacrifice a person, so it's
Right.
gonna be, like,
Deer.
deer,
What
Yeah,
if they're poor?
fish.
frog legs.
Well, these people don't. These are Native Americans we're talking about. So they're not. They're definitely not
What
like.
if the Wendigo got them?
they're definitely not purchasing their meat. They're definitely hunter gatherers. So,
Or cannibalist.
well, I mean, there's that.
Oh, man.
Did you just say cannibalist?
Yeah, I think she did.
Cut that out, please.
No, we're gonna leave
We're
it.
gonna leave that in.
We're definitely leaving
Mic
that
check.
in.
Mic check.
Oh shit. There are several stories about stick Indians and even modern day sightings. Most are hunters or lone travelers who have traveled too far from the trail into the woods. A popular story that can be found on Reddit is an author who retells the story her grandma told her. Her grandmother is a member of the Okanagan band in Canada. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's like a huge ass band of Native Americans. Like they literally
They like have drums and shit.
Yeah,
And they
yeah, and like the
They
dancing.
do the dancing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
I need to look that up.
And has warned her about such things as whistling in the woods at night. Her story goes, they say that they were once a normal tribe, you know. They were tall, with dark cascading black hair. They weren't always bad. But one day in the fall, it started snowing early, and it didn't stop. The people there ran out of food, having not expected the long winter ahead of them, and before long, they were starving. Their hair started to fall out, and what was left hung long and stringy. Their faces grew gaunt and pale. Their throats grew dry, and their voices turned hoarse, until they sounded like shrill screeches when they tried to talk. Their nails turned brittle, their skin tightened on their frames until they were thin like sticks. The chief needed to feed his people, but there was no food to feed them. The deer were gone, the rabbits scarce. The birds had long flown south. The neighbors refused to share their own dwindling food supply. There was no other option. They came at night. They crept into the woods towards the nearest tribe. They followed the sounds of whistling to the camp, and they attacked. Their screaming filled the air, echoing in the valley for miles. The stick Indians were ruthless, slicing open skin with nails sharpened by hunger, tearing mouthfuls of flesh with hungry teeth. Once repulsed by the thought, they couldn't stop devouring the first fresh meat they had tasted in months. It was delectable, sweet blood pouring from their mouths that they licked off the dirt, not willing to let the soil have what they so badly desired. When the sun rose, the stick Indians felt for the first time full. They slept, no longer kept awake by the dull prongs of hunger. At night, they awoke to the sounds of whistling.
Okay, so I just want to say, during that really intense reading, a little thing hit my forehead. Now, it could have been a bug. I don't know. But then I threw my hands up in the air.
I throw my hair back and forth.
Can we just talk about what was just read?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
They came out at night. They licked the dirt off.
they licked the blood off of the dirt, not wanting to let the earth have what they so badly desired.
That's hard up, man.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be real.
And this is a story that she was told as a child by her grandma.
How terrifying.
How traumatic. Thanks, Grandma.
Love you, Grandma.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
And you can just imagine it because they waited in the woods.
So no wonder they're, like, terrified
Correct.
of these things.
Yeah.
You're, like, bred. You are bred.
You were bred.
You
were bred.
to be
To be
afraid of
terrified
these
of
things.
these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From very early in
Yeah.
your life.
Well, our culture isn't much different. Someone
right.
comes up to you.
The
You don't talk to
boogeyman.
them. You walk away. Or
Yeah, but it's not as deeply ingrained in us. So, like, the thing about the Native Americans is that, like, they sit down, they have, they have legit, like, story times. And this is something that is, like, very deep rooted in their ancestry. Like, they sit down, they have the story times, they tell all of these stories constantly throughout their childhood. And so when you're told these scary stories as a little itty bitty and you're told them repeatedly, and when you're told them it's, you do not go into the woods, you do not whistle at nighttime, it's very much, it's way more ingrained in them than stranger danger is into you,
I feel like, though, in some ways, these are probably how these stories start because kids are curious.
Absolutely.
So you're telling a kid they can't do this constantly. Why? They want to go find out for themselves.
Not
And
if
that's
they told
how
a
we
story
get
like
more-
this.
Not it, man.
But that's what I mean, is that it's way more deeply rooted in these kids than it is stranger danger.
And not only that, aren't they have like, they do dances around these stories of these things. Like, this isn't just grandma told you this at the dinner table once.
It's the whole tribe. The whole tribe.
It's like a constant thing. It's the
yeah.
culture.
Everybody is,
But-
we're going to have a feast about it.
Yep.
Then we're going to dance about it. Then we're going to tell the story. Then we're going to...
I think this is how stories start. Like,
Point.
I was a kid, anytime my mom said, don't do it, I'm like, why? I want to know why I can't do that.
Yeah.
And, I'm probably learned my lesson a few times. But, like...
Let the record show that
But,
Kaylee
yeah.
learned her lesson a few times.
She admitted it.
Yep, definitely. No, but that's like, it's a different culture for sure.
But my whole thing is that I think that these things sound like pixies.
Yes, because pixies are evil little deviant little...
So sweet and innocent until you
Yeah.
piss them off, and then they turn into like these little asshole type creatures.
But I don't remember ever hearing a story about pixies drinking blood or...
No, the drinking blood
No.
part, or like
That's real deep.
eating people, like...
Yeah, no.
that's
Pixies
not-
are like, what are they?
We're gonna like
Naughty.
ruin your day. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And these are like...
We're gonna inconvenience you.
Yeah,
These
exactly.
want to just kill you straight up.
For real, they
don't want to have no playtime or nothing.
Oh my god.
No, they
They're
definitely...
0 to 100.
Yeah.
And
They
it
want to
seems...
They want to lick your blood from the dirt.
Yes. And it seems
Yeah.
like it doesn't take that much to piss them off either.
No.
Like, that's what the big difference, too.
Can we do a cheers? Can
Yeah.
we take a brief moment to
Intermission.
take a cheers out of our teacups? So don't forget that this is a tea party after all, my friends.
It is a tea party.
Yes, it is.
And at these tea parties, we get a little parched from talking so much. So we need to make sure that we always have something.
That we
to
wet the whistle, if
wet
you will.
the whistle,
Okay.
if you will. Cheers.
Oh, yeah, the
Oh.
raspberry's the best one.
Haley likes the raspberry twisted tea.
They're so
Yeah.
good. They're my favorite.
I think
And
they're
you know
disgusting.
what? I like the original. It tastes like sweet tea, but Mom wouldn't like that because she doesn't like sweet tea.
Every time I think of twisted tea, I think of that damn commercial. And when he smacks the shit out of that kid with the twisted tea.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I just
No,
imagined something funny. So,
Oh!
oh my god! Knocked him the fuck out. I think I've done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, after this,
Sorry, Lily.
video, went viral, twisted tea sales just fucking soared.
He did it with a twisted tea.
Yeah, it was one of the tall boy
The tall
twisted
boys.
Oh my
tea.
god,
Yeah.
how dope! It wasn't. That looks like it should have been done with a bottle of tequila or something.
I mean,
That's why it makes that smack noise, because it's
Yeah.
a full unopened can of twisted tea, and he just fucking nailed it.
that was
I mean-
intense.
I can think of a few people I'd do that to. You know what I mean?
Girl, same.
No, I'm saying. No, I'm
Same.
saying.
There's just a few people in your life. Everyone has those people, and they're just like, you really deserve a tall boy right to the fucking
Right
head.
to the face. You deserve a tall boy to
And
the
then
face.
afterwards, we can
Listen.
drink it together.
Drink in my mouth. I was just trying to live my
Oh
life
my
over
God.
here and wet my whistle. And then Caitlin
I'm a
had to
strong
come at me.
believer in that. And then you want to get them up and drink that
Sometimes
twisted tea together.
people just need a tall boy to the face.
To the
to the
face.
face.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Tall boy to the face.
Oh my god, there's people in your life.
Sometimes.
I should wear it to the next family gathering. My grandma will be like, "Who hurt you?"
Yes.
Okay, let's get into it. The Wampus Cat. Cherokee folklore offers a few perspectives on the Wampus Cat. One legend tells of Running Deer, a Cherokee woman who wanted to take down the evil spirit Iwa, and I know a lot of people have probably heard of Iwa because it's the spirit of madness.
Mm-hmm.
Running Deer wanted revenge, for she believed the spirit was responsible for driving her husband, Standing Bear, to madness.
And it was.
Okay, so here's probably what Kaylee was laughing at.
Yep.
Equipped with a booger mask.
Whoa!
Okay, let's.
That's,
Yep,
I read that and I said, what the hell?
we're gonna stop and we're
Whoa,
gonna.
That's offensive.
And Tracy's like, we're gonna calm this down right now.
We're gonna talk about a booger mask.
Okay.
She's like, everyone say it 5 times.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
A booger mask was used in a booger dance.
Oh.
A booger dance was a social dance intended to teach lessons about what is appropriate and inappropriate through humorous techniques. So like we were talking about earlier with the stick Indians and
Yes.
how the children were taught they would wear booger masks and make it like humorous. So booger masks are, I will show you a picture, but
Question.
for those of us that are listening, they won't be able to see it. So you'll have to look it up for yourself. But so what a booger mask was it was basically an exaggerated thing of whatever you're trying to be. And it was mostly about white people. So they were exaggerated like features.
So that
So
looks
it's
like a dick
racist.
on his nose.
So, but like, they're like, oh, this guy from England, he's got a huge fucking schnoz. So I'm going to like exaggerate it here.
Is that what? So why booger?
I don't
Do
know.
they put boogers on it?
I don't know. I don't know
No,
why
'Cause
they
that's what came to my mind.
exactly call them booger masks. I think it's just something that they've always called them. It might be what they're made out of.
Well, it did the thing. It's saying to teach lessons about what is appropriate and inappropriate. You think of booger, you're like, ew. What if they're like, it's not that deep? It's a booger mask.
I don't know what you're thinking deep is, but anytime someone says booger or anything to me, I'm thinking boogers from your nose.
That's what I'm thinking. But I'm just saying that they were probably like, okay, one time in 4th grade, my teacher was talking about a book we were reading and it said nipple. We all laughed for like 30 minutes and she made us all say nipple 5 times. It's like the same thing with
Shout
a
out
booger.
to that teacher.
Mrs. Tallman.
Oh, yeah,
You a G.
Shout out to Mrs. Tallman.
But no, she made us all say it and we all were like, nipple.
After you said it 5 times, did you
Yeah.
feel better?
No, I
Did you
should.
feel like this word is boring?
They're just masks that are used during rituals. So all rituals, not all, but like the good majority of rituals, they will put on a mask. And that mask is called a booger mask.
No, it makes sense. I just was thinking like, okay, yeah, like they're just.
I was just thinking booger.
Yeah, that's all.
That's what
Janet
I was thinking.
But I'm past it now.
So, equipped with a booger mask.
And we still haven't made it past that. I'm sorry. Here we go.
And the spirit of a mountain cat, she surprised and defeated the spirit, becoming the tribe's spirit talker and home protector. Some believe that Running Deer's spirit resides within the Wampus cat, guarding the Cherokee lands against dark forces hidden in the depths of Tanazi.
I just want to give a shout out to my aunt right now for pronouncing all
Tanazi?
of these words.
I looked at it and I was like, Tanasi. Yeah. And she was like, Tanazi.
No, like
Obviously.
every big
dumbass.
word that I'd be way too afraid to like try to pronounce. She's like, and this is a shakamakuduga. Let's continue.
The ones that are really bad have the pronunciation right next to them so that
I haven't seen those
I
yet.
haven't seen them.
There was one for a toga.
Oh, okay.
With the Payasa.
What
I
a
missed
awesome
I
genius.
missed it.
And Payasa also had one next to it because I kept calling it Piasa.
Well,
Anyway,
it's an honest mistake.
it really is. You should see the way it's spelled. Look it up.
should. It looks,
Look it up.
So according to another legend, the creature was once a woman who spied on a sacred ceremony by hiding beneath the pelt of a mountain lion. A medicine man punished the woman by transforming her into a fearsome feline entity, which I don't know how that would be punishment.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
The Wampus cat. Like, how is that a punishment?
It's not, because
I would be
look,
like,
she's
yeah,
got
bitch.
big ass teeth now, big ass
Yeah.
claws. She's faster than you. She's
I'm
stronger
coming.
than you.
She probably looks awesome.
Hide your kids
Hide your wives
and hide your husbands.
because they're killing everybody up in here.
That's right. Goddamn.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the Appalachian region, the Wampus cat is known by different names, from Galley Wampus to Whistling Wampus. Now, I know you've heard of this before.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I say that, you've heard of it, right?
Yeah, Dad used to say that all the time.
So, yeah, and I didn't.
He doesn't know what this is from, though. I'm sure.
No,
Maybe does he?
Probably
I don't know.
not. Probably not. But once I read that, I was
Or
like,
cattywampus?
Yep. I mean, same cat, mountain lion, whatever.
We should quiz them.
I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
Remember that thing you used to say? I don't even remember how he used to even use
Because
the
he would
word.
use it as something was like messed up. He would say it's all
it's
cattywampus. Yeah.
Oh. Look
Ah.
at our little.
Yeah, things are clicking
Mhm.
over yonder. And it is rumored to appear at twilight or dawn. In Appalachian folklore, the mythical beast is often portrayed as the cat-like embodiment of a cursed woman who is punished for her disobedience or involvement in witchcraft.
Ugh.
Of course.
Of course.
Pathetic.
Oh, show.
When am I going to be a cat?
Right?
Right
we already
now.
are.
Right
we already
meow.
are.
Right meow.
Other interpretations suggest that the concept of the Wampus cat was influenced by European mythology, specifically the idea of witches or women with shape-shifting abilities. These influences may have merged with the Appalachian folklore over time, so we already know all about the Europeans, and they're thinking that all women are witches if they even step a toe out of fucking line. So, eyewitnesses described the Wampus cat as a large and fearsome creature with a bobcat's face, often portrayed as a cross between a cat and human with sharp, elongated claws and fangs. Its most distinctive features is its glowing yellow eyes that supposedly pierce through the darkness of the night as it roams the Appalachian Mountains. Eyewitnesses have reported seeing a creature with a muscular feline body covered in dark matted fur, accompanied by a long, sinuous tail that aids in the balance and agility. Some accounts assert that the creature has 6 legs and is more of a half cat and half dog hybrid. Sightings of the creature have been sporadic, typically occurring deep within the dense forests or remote areas. Witnesses describe feeling of unease and overwhelming sense of being watched when encountering one of these creatures. The Wampus cat allegedly has several supernatural abilities, one of the most notable being its ability to emit spine-chilling screams. These vocalizations are believed to be a method of attracting prey or warding off potential threats. The half-cat creature is also thought to possess exceptional speed, agility, and stealth, allowing it to navigate the densest of forests and remain undetected. Legend suggests that it can shapeshift or become invisible, making it even more challenging to track or capture. These extraordinary abilities have both fascinated and frightened those who have delved into the base mythology. So again, I believe that they actually existed. Were they shapeshifters and did they have running deer's soul trapped inside of them? Probably not, but I believe that they were real cats and they probably just became extinct or almost extinct.
Mm-hmm. Or they were just a bunch of pissed off women being like,
right, there's
alone.
there's definitely something there. Like there's a reason, like we have already talked about, there's a reason that this happened specifically, and how dare that woman.
Yeah, how fucking dare you?
It was all for fear.
This is a trend that we're seeing.
It's like, if you disobey, you'll be a Wampus cat.
It's a good
or a
thing we
wife
don't do that
of
at
the
the tea
stick
party.
Indians.
Yes.
All women are welcome at the tea party.
Absolutely.
All women, yes.
Cheers, bitches.
And
Cheers.
all pro-women men are allowed at the tea party.
Yes.
My husband.
My husband.
My boyfriend.
Oh, okay. We're coming up on the end here.
Mm-hmm.
This next one, everybody knows. And if you don't, well, then I don't know what the...
Then maybe you should get out more.
Maybe you should figure your lives out. Because
For
I
real.
know that everybody knows about this shit.
And I have like a deep-rooted fear of this. I feel like I've seen them out wandering.
Skinwalkers. Woo! Okay, so there's a lot of different information out there on skinwalkers. So much so that we could probably and will probably do a whole episode at some point. For this reason, we're just going to do a quick breakdown of skinwalker lore as it only pertains to Native Americans. That's right, no ranches or aliens today, my
Damn it.
Sorry. So what is a skinwalker? Well, Western Indian tribes believe that they were supernatural beings. The Navajo specifically believed that skinwalkers were shapeshifters who could assume the form of any animal, which allowed them to travel quickly and gave them the ability to hide in plain sight. And even more specifically than that, a person is said to gain the power to become a skinwalker upon initiation into Witchery Way. The initiation into Witchery Way involved murdering a close relative, especially a sibling. I'm sorry, Janet.
What the?
I don't want to be a skinwalker, though.
No.
Yeah.
Other crimes associated with it include necrophilia and grave robbing. Once one has been initiated into Witchery Way, they become quote-unquote pure evil. Witchery Way. The Navajo believed that there are places where powers of both good and evil are present. They believe there's only a very super thin line that separates good from evil. So basically medicine man from witch. And that line is like paper thin, like probably thinner than that. There are 4 types of Navajo witchcraft. So the first one is witchery way. And during the ritual, practitioners of witchcraft focus on corpses. There's sorcery way. And during these ceremonies, so we're talking about like the dancing ceremonies and stuff like that, around the fire, the whole shebang. During these ceremonies of sorcery way, the victims have their personal objects or body parts, such as hair, buried, but not just hair, other things as well.
Yeah.
Like what?
I'll kind of,
For
I don't really, but
demonetization
I don't
purposes.
really,
Like what?
body parts,
Yeah.
Like their own?
like the
knows?
victim's body parts.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
the,
fuck them bitches.
right. Well, the wizardry way. So foreign objects such as poison or cursed darts are injected into the victim. Yep. And then we have frenzy way. So these are charms that influence the victim's
I know which
mental
way I'm going.
or emotional state.
We're like frenzy way.
Frenzy way.
I'm
Charms are
definitely about I'm not about any of these. I'm medicine man because I'm not.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about this here in just a second. I don't know where it brings it up.
These are like very evil, like
Yes, these
fucked
are.
up.
This is pure evil. This is based on murder. is what we're
Oh,
talking
this
about.
isn't.
Yeah,
no.
no.
So the
Yeah,
witchery
no.
way is the most well-known form of Navajo witchcraft. It's passed down by elders of the tribe to those who wish to learn it. Each form of witchcraft is based on death, whereas witchery way focuses on corpses. So witchery way, they're already dead. But all of those other things that I listed, it is based on death.
So this is why skinwalkers are so scary.
Yeah. So the most
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't either. So that's why I was like, this is
It's
some
why-
good tea.
You know,
To
like
me,
when you
it
ever
makes
watch a
sense.
show up
Tea.
Cheers. You know, like when you ever watch a show about skinwalkers and like they'll have a Native American on there talking about them and they barely want to talk about it. Like they're
No.
so terrified
Yeah,
of
we
it.
get into that
But
too. Mhm.
they don't really. I never knew. Obviously,
Yeah.
They're like they're probably gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Your family.
Yep.
Like there's gonna be some fucked up shit that happens.
Hell yes,
I
there
couldn't
is.
do it without
No,
saying
thank
fucked up
you.
shit.
The most well-known Navajo witches are skinwalkers. They practice witchery way, and they can transform into animals. They take on the characteristics and skills of whatever animal they take on. Skinwalkers are said to wear the skin of the animal they become, obviously, and it just depends on the task at hand. So if they need immense strength at that moment, they're gonna wear a bear skin. If they want stealth and whatever, they're gonna wear like a cat skin or
Yeah.
like a mountain
A
lion
fox.
skin. Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like what's his name from True Blood? But he's not like evil like that. The bartender.
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
He's not like evil, but he does take on the body parts or body.
Yeah, he
of
can just
different-
he can look at something.
What do
and
they call him in that?
They just call him a shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter.
I don't
Yeah.
think they call him anything else.
No,
and
just
he
that.
he shifts into that dog all
Yes.
the
He's
time.
like that minus the murder.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's not.
No,
Sam is
he's-
a good guy in the show.
He's not
kind
very
of annoying.
murdery, no.
Mhm.
So it is said that you can identify a skinwalker in animal form by shining a light in its eyes. If it glows red, skinwalker.
Oh, let
I'm
me
gonna
get my
try that
flashlight
next
out.
time.
And in human form, shining a light in their eyes will turn animalistic. So think like cat, wolf,
Mhm.
that kind of eye. I know we all know what that looks like.
Yeah. Yep.
They can read people's minds, control animals of the night, call upon spirits of the dead, inflict pain, and are almost impossible to catch and get rid of. Now, the Navajo skinwalker is very, very deeply rooted in Native American lore. As for the rest of us, in America, we got our first real taste of the Navajo legend in 1996. Now, I said we weren't going to talk about the ranch. We're only going to touch on it.
So we are going to talk
We're
about
gonna
the
talk about
ranch.
it.
We're not going to go in.
Giddy up,
We're
bitches.
just going to tell a story.
We're going on the ranch.
Yeah.
I may have fibbed slightly. A newspaper story chronicled a Utah family's traumatizing experience with the supposed creature that included cattle mutilations and disappearances, UFO sightings, and crop circles. But the family's most distressing encounter with the fabled skinwalker occurred one night just 18 months after moving onto the ranch. Terry Sherman, the father of the family, was walking his dogs around the ranch late at night when he encountered a wolf. But this was no ordinary wolf. It was perhaps 3 times larger than a normal one, had glowing red eyes, and stood unfazed by 3 close-range shots Sherman blasted into its hide. The Sherman family weren't the only ones to be traumatized on the property. After they moved out, several new owners experienced eerily similar encounters with these creatures, and today the ranch has become a hub of paranormal research that's aptly renamed Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch.
I need to take a sip. Hold
Be
up.
afraid. Be very afraid.
Be scared. Wait, what does it go? How does it go? Beware, you're in for a scare.
Oh.
So once this story hit the media, it seemed like a lot of people had and still do have a lot to say about skinwalkers. As with many other things on this list, the Native Americans do and don't freely and openly talk about skinwalkers, as it is thought that speaking of them brings them near. But all it takes is a quick Google search and you'll find plenty of stories and information these days. There's a lot of stories and I don't have time to read them all, but I found one that I found pretty creepy and it's short and sweet. Now, you have to remember, so when I'm reading this, the uncle, they're Navajo, and he is speaking Navajo. This guy is translating everything into English for us. I was a kid when this happened. My uncle and I were finishing up gathering firewood for my grandmother because it was dark. Driving back on a dirt road at about 30 miles an hour, give or take 5 miles an hour, I had this awful sense of being watched. Before I could turn around and look out my window, my uncle quickly shouted, "Don't." I completely froze. My heart felt like it was beating out of my chest, then completely stopped when I heard the tap-tap on my window. My uncle sped up and was loudly praying in my native language. I didn't know what was going on and thought that it was over till our truck suddenly dipped from the bed. My uncle started saying, "Look at me, don't turn away," over and over. Then I heard it again. Tap, tap, but from the window behind me. It was getting harder for me to breathe and I wanted to cry. A minute or two passed and the truck dipped again. My uncle looked around and sighed. It was quiet besides the truck and the road. He looked at me and said, "We'll ask your father to do a prayer in the morning, so evil will forget our faces." I remember curling up on the seat and just staring at the radio, watching the time, listening to my uncle sing an old prayer till we got to my grandmother's house. I called my uncle because I had a nightmare about that night. We talked about it for a bit. He said, "I didn't see faces, just eyes, like brake lights you see in the road. It watched you." Before hanging up, I tried joking with him about it. "Why didn't you just step on the brake when it was in the back?" No laughter, just pause, because it wasn't alone.
Oh. Eee. Gives me the jeeps,
Yeah.
bro.
It's weird.
No.
So my thoughts on this one, I don't have an explanation. Like, do I believe they exist? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
There's some weird and creepy shit going on in the desert out there, and I want zero fucking part of it at all.
Me as well. Like, no.
But it's not just in the desert.
I
Right.
won't be going.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff on skinwalkers. Like, we could go on forever. And like I said,
and we will. Yeah.
We will do, there's the ranch. There's a whole lot of stuff to go on about. But let's talk about your story.
I just want to start this off by saying, yes, I'm a paranoid person. Thank you for the licks, friends. Anyways, I know I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid as hell. However, I know with my intuition and my gut feeling when something is like really not okay. This goes back like months. I went to a grocery store. I'm in there with my boyfriend. We're going to go fill up our water. And this man, I see him before. I'm very aware of my surroundings. Probably too much.
Mom.
Yep.
Yep.
She didn't get it from me.
No, don't even. Yeah, she would be like, and just engraving me to like be aware,
Yes.
protect yourself. But she doesn't even know when weird shit's going on in the store. I do.
Hell no.
So you saw this man.
Yeah, and I read people very well, I think, and I instantly like my body gets the shivers, and that's how I know when someone's fucking weird. So I'm like, kind of just okay, pay attention, because he was in a couple aisles, and I'm like, how convenient he's in every aisle we're going in. That's odd. People at grocery stores are kind of all over the place unless they have a list. He didn't have nothing. He didn't have a cart. He didn't have anything in his hands.
Oh, we didn't even have a fucking cart.
No. So we're at the water. He comes over to us. The first time he says, "Oh, hey, how's it going, guys?" And we're just like, Carter, my boyfriend, takes over because I am like, no.
And Carter's totally engaging.
He's
He's probably like, "Hey, man,
he's really
how's it
good.
going?"
He's really good at playing people out like that. He's like, "Yeah, we're good. How are you?" He's like, is that water like cheaper to do it that way instead of buying these gallons? They're so expensive. And I was like, my nervous laugh, like, ha ha ha, okay. But that did not happen. He was like, oh, she's laughing at me. So he didn't leave. And he continues to stand there and he's trying to ask us questions. And these questions are just not something you ask people. I know, like, maybe in the 50s this was cool, but no. Nowadays it's weird. Like, you don't ask, he started to say stuff like, what's your name? Are you from around here? Where do you guys live? Why would you ask a stranger where they live?
Yeah, stranger danger.
Yeah.
It's
That's fucking weird.
It's a real thing.
So I look at Carter. I look at him.
You give Carter the old,
I was like,
don't answer.
Don't answer. And he goes, we just live right up the road. Like, he played it off so
What
smooth.
a very smooth young man.
Because he could tell I was like, I was weirded out.
Love him.
And he was like, oh yeah, cool. And he walks away. Well, we go back to the same grocery store about 2 weeks ago at this point. I saw this guy again. And this time I'll describe him to you in case you encounter the skinwalker. So,
We're calling him the Skinwalker
I don't
now.
care. I hope you're listening.
Kaylee is really.
I'm like, really?
But it's weird, man.
It is weird.
Because it was twice as heavy.
Yes,
Go
and
ahead.
it's almost the same thing.
It was almost the
and
same encounter.
The way my body... So, people, when they talk about these skinwalker stories, they talk about how they look human, but you don't feel like they're human. Or they don't feel like
Something's
something's
off to you. And
Yes.
I've always told you need to trust that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am being aware of that. We walk in, I see him in the produce section. So I'm like, I couldn't think to that time. Like, I just was like, he looks oddly familiar. It's really creeping me out a little bit, but I'm like, whatever. We're going to do our thing. We go down the cracker aisle. He's down that aisle. No cardigan, no phone, nothing in his hands, just walking around. And I'm like, really paying attention because I feel like I've seen him. I just have that feeling, that familiar feeling, but it's not like something like, oh, I
Not a
remember
good
you.
familiar.
No, it's
No,
like this
it's
guy.
Ugh.
So I was going to describe him to you.
Okay.
So he comes down the water. We are filling up our gallons of water again. He comes down that same damn aisle. He walks at us. Tall, little, like thinner, like normal build. Not,
Was he emaciated?
no, I don't know.
I was just trying to decide if he was really a stick people.
I don't know. I don't know if he's...
Or Wendigo, because here's the
Yeah.
deal. Is that so
Did he have
Wendigos...
chapped lips?
No, let me tell you. He has a scar across his face from here to here.
So he probably fucked with the wrong one.
That's
day.
what I'm
They were probably
saying.
But was he wild-eyed? Like, kind
His
of
eyes were big. Like
bugging
this.
out?
Like big. Like they weren't...
He was probably just messing around.
Maybe.
Okay.
But I don't know.
We do.
When you like look at him, it's an eerie sense. Like, this man is odd. He doesn't talk like people talk. It's like he's rehearsed it. That's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's odd. And that scar across his lip, at first I thought he had a cleft lip the first time I saw him. No, it's because this time he was closer to us. It's definitely a scar that's like across down
Goes
his,
from underneath his
like right
left
here.
eye all the way down to his
Yes, but it's really profound right here on his lip. It's like deep. And he comes up to us and asks the same question. Is this water cheaper to do it that way? Just to fill up the jugs? Are you guys from around here? What's your guys' name? Where do you guys work? And I was like,
So, what did Carter do this time?
the same thing. So I felt like I was having deja vu, which is sometimes if you're in a weird situation, you're having deja vu again, it's kind of scary. His eyes. That's the thing that is creepy about him because he has a scar across his face.
Right.
His demeanor is not, it's not natural.
And it's the same rehearsed story
Yes.
that
Twice
we've already
now.
talked about, and it's weird.
And he doesn't have a cart. He's not getting anything.
Right.
He's just walking around. And at first I'm thinking, okay, this could be like a sex trafficking situation because a lot of
It
people
could,
do
but
that.
why would they approach you when you had Carter with you? There's plenty of
Exactly.
other people available.
Alone.
There's probably plenty of other women that were alone.
Exactly. And it was twice, and Carter didn't remember a single thing. I said, he walked away.
Well, that's what makes it odd
That's
for
what
me,
makes
right?
it weird. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, because John would definitely like recognize somebody
No.
before I would.
Carter was like completely
like
like
if it happened to us before, John would look at me and go, "This motherfucker." But like the
No.
fact that Carter didn't even
nothing faced him. And
remember
I
that.
think that I'm very, just us as women in this family are very in tune with like that kind of supernatural and spiritual side. I feel like that's why maybe Because, like, something like that, it's like, okay, they can manipulate you. They can make you forget. They can make you whatever.
Right.
But someone like me who's like, bitch, I don't even fucking know. Right? You try it. I gotta let it pick the panga. You know what I mean? So, no, but, like, I immediately, when he started walking down that thing, and I hope that motherfucker heard me, I looked right at Kurt and I was like, that happened before. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, that happened before, and don't make me feel crazy. That happened.
That whole exact encounter.
Almost exactly the same. I feel like that time he asked us where we worked, and the time before that he did not.
But that would have been the
strange.
only difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same, gathering more information, and now he's asking different questions to learn more. Like,
or attempts to anyways.
Yes.
But did he recognize you is
No.
the real
He
thing.
didn't make it seem like he did. He just walked up to us the exact same way, like,
It's probably
hey,
just
how
his
are you
same
guys
old dog and
doing?
pony show trying
Yes.
to lure
See
somebody.
if anyone will bite.
Yeah.
And I immediately, both times, the first time I saw him, got the little shiver I get. And then when he approached us, I was like, ooh, like something just is not right. And that face, like, if I saw him again, I would immediately fucking know. Because it's just like very... You know how some faces kind of like look
Piss
the
you off?
same
Oh.
and piss you off? Definitely.
There is that.
That should be slapped with a
That's
tall
the
boy.
thing. They should be
Be
slapped with a tall boy.
Yeah,
We need
no.
to put that on a shirt.
But no, that's the thing. It's like his face was unique, and he always says, "We just moved here. We're new here. We don't know a lot." That's what he uses as an excuse to ask us, "Where do we work? Where do we live? Do we come here often?"
Yeah, no, just always trust your gut and always trust that.
And also, I'd like to emphasize the fact that I didn't really get into it, but his eyes are very strange. They're large. You're
It's
not
because
breaking.
he's like taking too much Adderall.
Yes.
I was gonna say,
Crazy.
he's probably definitely
He
messing around.
did
like-
not
Anybody who's been out
fucking-
in public lately knows that it's
a little scary out there.
It's
Little
it's rough out
scurvy.
there.
What I also want to say is that, like, so when you research skinwalkers,
Mhm.
Wendigos are hand in hand.
Yeah.
So when you're looking up Wendigos or skinwalkers, you will almost always see them somewhere simultaneously.
Yes.
So it's kind of because they are very similar.
Similar.
The only difference is that
So he
this
probably wanted to eat you.
could be.
And now that we are talking about this, his lips were...
His lips were chapped.
Okay, let
He
me tell
needed
you
the
guys. He
chapstick.
needed
The little
chapstick.
chapstick.
He needed chapstick. But his smile was the creepiest fucking thing, and that's how I know when someone's not right.
Right.
When they smile at you,
You should carry a flashlight.
I should. Next
I
time.
got the red eyes
I'll
on
be
there.
like, hey, 1 second. I think I have seen you before. No, I'll do some psycho shit. Like, I don't
the
care.
only difference between the skinwalker and the Wendigo is that the skinwalker is said to be able to shapeshift.
Yes.
But otherwise,
Very similar. So it could be either, but the eyes are like... I don't remember him blinking. Like, he was asking me questions, and he
we
was
didn't
like...
get into the alien side of this,
Yeah.
thing, but
right.
that's
No.
where I would have
Like,
went.
I truly believe, I don't care if I sound crazy, but he is not of just human entities.
And if
He
you are,
is-
sir, we apologize.
Nope, I don't fucking apologize. You've asked me twice where the fuck I work. Go
Okay.
fuck yourself.
Oh my
Well, and we will do another deep dive into this because we
Yeah.
would like to do. I know that I would like to do Skinwalker
And
Ranch
yeah.
who
as like a
knows?
whole.
After I've talked about this since it attracts it, I probably will see him again at the next grocery
Oh, don't talk
store.
about it
All
anymore.
right, folks.
Next time I'm gonna start screaming.
Oh,
I don't
And you,
care.
as you should. Remember that time that
your mom don't fuck around.
No.
You guys remember?
doesn't.
Wait, you don't.
One time, somebody came and asked me for a cigarette, and your mom was bent over in the van. She wasn't even anywhere near me. And somebody comes up and is like, "Can I have a
told me about
cigarette?"
this.
And she goes,
get the hell away
Yeah.
from us.
No, do you remember
What
that
the hell,
time?
though? Seriously.
My mom and I were in another grocery store. This seems to happen a lot at stores. But this man was like thoroughly walking around us, watching us, and I was very aware, and I kept being like, Mom. She's like, yes, I fucking see him. Shut
I've
up.
seen him. I've seen him.
Then he walked over to us again. How many times?
Guess what, though? That motherfucker backed off real
He
quick.
did. How
He
many
wasn't
times
ready
was
for the
that, though?
He wasn't ready
No.
He wasn't ready for the
He was
flow.
just had his cart literally pushing it around us. Like, we were in the middle of an aisle. He'd go around that side and this side and that side and this side. Like, how many
Weird.
times?
It was maybe 6 times. We were in the men's underwear section. I was looking.
So at first, Mom was like, "Okay, maybe he's looking."
I told you, I'm like, okay, I'm aware. I knew it was happening, but I'm like, look, we're in the men's section.
Yeah.
So,
but I looked at Mom and I was like, "Mom, that guy's being really weird." She's like, "Honey, it's fine. Like, he's probably." Just
I had my
looking."
eyes on him. I seen him.
She was watching.
She was following us.
Well, at the
before
same
we got
time,
there,
you were
too.
probably young, and she was probably not trying to make you fucking panic about it.
Nope.
And don't worry, honey, I got this.
Right. I don't worry.
You need to have some more
it,
faith in me because, oh my God, there has been so many times where I've just been like, "Excuse me, is there anything I can help you with?"
Oh no, I don't
No.
say that, do I?
No.
Then just
I'm like,
carry
all
on.
I know is if that motherfucker comes over here again, I'll put hands on his ass.
What
Mom
she
goes
says
crazy.
is when there's somebody following you down in the middle of downtown Cedar Rapids trying to fucking talk to you, she says, "Go the fuck away. Don't talk to me.
Yep.
Leave." That's what she said.
Listen,
Oh my
I
God.
don't know what that dude was gonna do.
I didn't know what he was going to do either.
But he
but
wasn't
I
gonna
was-
do nothing that day. That's all I know.
I was very aware. I was upset with my father for speaking to him even. I was like, Dad, don't.
Dad doesn't know that.
Grandpa
know,
is
he
so-
can't, like, and I was like, but as soon I kept being like, Dad's gonna be the one.
He looked
One
at,
time-
after he kept following us, Dad looked at me and he was like, he was
That's
kind of
what
the
he
worried, oh, I
does.
shouldn't have done that. And I was
No.
like, no.
No.
And then I got,
That's why nobody else said, and I was watching him from this way. I was walking straight, but I had my head like this, and I was watching him the whole time.
It's
and
funny.
John was too. John had my hand really fucking tight.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was ready to pull me this way and bust him in the face.
See, I thought John was behind us
No.
with Brandon.
No, he was right next to me. John
So,
had my hand the whole time.
I jumped in front of Dad behind you,
Yeah.
like right behind you, and he was there, and I was like, try it, motherfucker. I'm about to go.
Okay, this same situation basically happened with me and Grandpa. Multiple of these, but this one always stands out to me. Grandpa this is what I was gonna say too. Like, people and weird entities fucking prey on people like my grandpa. He's too nice. And
He's Iowa nice.
he's Iowa nice.
That's where
That's
it's
what
at.
he
And
killed.
one
Yep.
time we went up to northern Iowa and we went into like one of those Amish stores. And it wasn't.
I
it
love
wasn't,
those, by
me
the
too.
way.
I do too. The Benton.
Love
Dent.
it. Yes,
bakery.
best
Oh.
stuff. So good.
They've got the Lucky
Um,
Charms marshmallows.
They do, and it's so
They
good.
make Lucky Charms marshmallows. Just the marshmallows.
Just the marshmallows.
You can buy the thing of just the marshmallows.
and it's so good.
none of that nasty ass cereal that comes with the Lucky
Yeah,
Charms.
no.
Just
Just
the
eat.
marshmallows.
Just eat those damn marshmallows out of the bag. Mm.
But
Okay.
Anyways,
I need to discover that.
so this wasn't one of the Amish people, by the way. Like, nothing against them. This was just another shopper who I immediately was like, Grandpa, please don't fucking talk to him. But this guy was like kind of just like lurking around, blah, blah, blah. I kept seeing him everywhere, and I was like, oh my God. So I was like really standing close to Grandpa, and Grandpa's always like, what the hell are you doing? You can walk away. You don't gotta be so close to me. I'm not your mom. You know, whatever. So I like take a couple steps away from Grandpa, still holding onto the cart, so I'm close. And this guy comes up and talks to him, and I just remember it being really weird. It was like kind of the same like interaction. Very personal questions that you don't ask people the first
that
time
you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Grandpa just answering them as he would. I'm
Love
like,
him.
OMG. So he started walking with us in the store. This guy did. Just walking around with us, asking Grandpa all of these things. And Grandpa was starting to get annoyed. And I kept looking at Grandpa, and I was like,
He was like, oh, I got in too deep.
and Grandpa kept looking at me. And I said, yeah. And I kept looking at Grandpa, and Grandpa kept doing that laugh when he's starting to get annoyed.
Yeah.
And we go out to the car. This man went behind us in the checkout lane, and he followed us out to the truck and was still talking to us. And Grandpa was like, all right, we gotta leave now.
Come be hitting the old
Yeah.
dusty trail.
So then finally, Grandpa, like this man did not leave. Grandpa just got into the truck. And then I was like, it was silent, and I was like, that guy's really weird, Grandpa. And he was like, I know, we're gonna get out of here. I need you to pay attention to the back and see if he's following. It was scary. And like that, it was like weird, like just weird. Not, I don't know.
We do live in the meth capital
We do.
of the United States.
We also live in a part of the country where we have like everyone's polite.
Yeah.
Everyone. So we went to California a couple years ago, and I'd never been there. And my cousin was holding a door open for someone, and they scowled at him. they didn't say thank you, which they would have said here.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
they scowled at him when he did it. Like they were pissed
Annoyed.
off and
Yeah.
annoyed
Or
that he held
offended.
the door. And I've never seen anything like that before. And then my cousin's like, "Oh, fine. Excuse me. I'm sorry I opened the door for you or whatever." And we were both just like got a kick out of it kind of because I was like,
Being
It's Iowa
so
nice though.
yeah.
Like it really is a thing. We went to Colorado. Me and John went to Colorado a couple of years ago. And we were staying at this hotel and we're outside smoking cigarette and all these fucking people all of a sudden they all come up and they're like, "Oh, can I have a cigarette?" Da 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 da. I don't mind giving one person a cigarette, but then they went back and told their buddies.
"Oh
And
yeah."
then they kept coming up and John kept handing them out and I was like, No.
No.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Granted, cigarettes were like double there what they are for us here, but that's not my problem. I am not here to fucking support you.
Support
I am
you.
on fucking vacation.
Mhm.
Okay. So I had to yell at them, but they were totally unfazed by it. Like I was like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
I got annoyed with it. No,
They
fuck
don't
off.
care. They're like,
And
"Oh,
they
she's
go-
done giving them out for free."
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
And then they just rode away. And John was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "You can be mean to people." Like,
yeah. But
it's-
it's like for people like
for
us
us,
who've
to-
grown up in the
yeah,
Midwest.
we don't do that shit.
Yeah.
If somebody's like,
no.
"Hey man, you think I could?" Yeah, sure. Like it's okay. Like whatever.
Yeah. Like we mow each other's lawns.
John
when
mows the
someone's
neighbors.
sick.
John mows the neighbor's yard
we
constantly.
go
Like that's
help
what
pick
he
up
does.
our neighbors when they fall down. Like
Yeah, we take each other
it's-
to work. We,
Yeah.
we do all kinds of stuff that they
I
don't
personally
do.
get a ride almost every day. I go to work because
Yeah.
I'm fucking driving
It's
myself nowhere.
strange to think that doesn't happen everywhere,
And it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
No, and it's weird
So-
to being respectful is a blessing
So,
and a curse.
When
When you
someone's
have, like-
overly,
Mhm.
even more than we think, someone's overly
Like
wanting,
taking advantage of something.
then it seems weird to us.
If-
And if we're thinking it's weird,
That's
it's
what I was
fucking
just gonna
weird.
say.
Probably really fucking
If
weird.
I think something's fucking weird and some weird shady shit's going on, it's definitely fucking weird.
Like,
something ain't right.
I once walked a boy home from a football game who lived across town. I said he broke his arm, but at the time nobody knew what was wrong and people were making fun of him because he was crying. I held that boy's arm and I walked him all the way to his fucking house. And out of my kindness of my own damn heart, because I was like, this little boy could be my brother.
Yeah.
And I would want someone to take him home. And I held his arm as we walked together. And to this day, that boy, anytime I've ever seen him since then, he's like, "You're the girl who walked me home when I broke my arm." Like, and all that stuff.
See?
But if
So we
you're...
remember shit like
Yes.
that, you know? Like,
And that's like, if something... So I know I do good shit,
in
and
the
I
city,
want to
you
do
would have
good
left him
shit.
there to die.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, really though.
But like, that's how you know when
We're
someone's
just-
being too nice.
And something's weird.
There's a difference.
in a small town.
Exactly, and I love it. I won't never live in a city.
Yeah.
So anyway, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to it.
So that's basically it. We learned a lot today, my friends. We talked about Wendigos, Scootakamooch, my favorite.
Yes.
Pious
Getting a tall boy to the face.
Yeah, the tall boys to the
That,
face.
yeah.
Piasa birds,
Mm-hmm.
Dick Indians,
Creepy.
Wampus cats,
That's me.
and skinwalkers.
That's Kaylee.
Yeah.
Are
That's all
these
me.
things real, or are they purely stories made up by Native Americans as teaching moments? And
They're real
lessons?
because there's so many
They're fucking
across.
real.
Something definitely happened
Something's
at some point
going on, right?
for these to
Something-
need to
yeah.
be a thing that they have passed down from generation to generation.
If this wasn't real, the world would be too cut and dry, and I just don't think that's how it's
Yeah.
made.
We don't like that.
No.
That's not. Mm-mm. This
No.
world is not black and white. There's
No.
some major gray areas going on.
Yes, there is.
Okay. So go ahead and look some of these things up on your own time. I'm sure you'll find some interesting and creepy shit. We want to thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you come back to see us again.
We hope you come
Come
back.
back, please.
If there's something more specific you would like us to talk about, go ahead and hop on over to our website at thepoisonteaparty.com and let us know about it. I mean, we're open to creepy and weird shit. So
Hell
whatever
yeah,
you can think of. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and you can keep up to date with the news and new episodes and merch and all that kind of stuff over there. Until next time, my pretties, keep it classy and keep those pinkies up. I'm Trassy Assy, and you have been poisoned.